Mute me. Sorry,
Okay,
I
we're all
muted
set?
myself. Go ahead. Yes, we're all set. I'm sorry, I muted myself and then I
Okay,
couldn't.
yep, no problem. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 15th, 2024 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. And we will open with the roll call. So Ms. Hofstetter,
Here.
Mr. Salvain,
Here.
Mr. Haas is absent. Ms. Wallace-Smith looks to be absent as well. Chair Finaldi is absent and Vice Chair Mercurcio is here. Commission members, you received the draft minutes of the April 3rd meeting. Unless there's any questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Okay,
Second.
here first, seconded by Mr. Salvain. Motion is made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The minutes of the April 3rd meeting are accepted. For the record, our next regular meeting is scheduled for June 5th, 2024. And before we move on, I'll read the intro to Zoom meeting notice. This meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone to avoid an echo or some other background noise. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions regarding how to participate in the meeting, please contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on the agenda items were submitted via email to the Planning and Zoning Department, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches sometimes do occur. Please be patient if that happens. Okay. There are no new public hearings or continuation of public hearings for this evening. So we will go directly to old business for discussion and possible action. So item number 1. Danbury Auto Group application for new floodplain permit for 23 to 27 and 33 to 37 Rose Street, H13272 and H13273, revised site plan number 22-08. Commission members, you have received a draft resolution of approval dated May 8th, 2024. Ally, can you walk us through this?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the
Oh, wait a
site.
minute. Wait a minute. Oops. Hang on. Oh, hold on. Doo-doo. There we go. Go ahead.
Thanks, Joe.
Mhm.
Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. So we granted approval, the department granted approval for the site plan, and they're coming in to renovate building C here and renovate building B here as well as site improvements, so formalization of parking lots and other things like that. So the whole property is within the unnumbered AE floodplain, and that base flood elevation ranges between 285 and 287.5. So you can see here for building C, that base flood elevation is listed here as 387.5, and then at building B, it kind of slopes down a bit, so that base flood elevation is 385. No improvements are proposed in building A, so they do not have to be flood proofed per the regulations. So for building C and building B, they'll both be flood-proofed to 1 foot above their base flood elevations. And then there is no net fill below the 100-year floodplain. So pretty straightforward. And then some of the requirements outlined, we have 2 of the 3 of the normal requirements, and then we added number 2, which is the registered professional architect or engineer shall certify that the flood proofing methods are adequate to withstand the flood depths, pressure, velocities, impacts, and uplift forces and other factors associated with the base flood. And then the certification shall be submitted to the Department of Planning and Zoning. So that basically is saying that the design for the flood proofing of those 2 buildings works. And then 3, they shall submit the elevation certificates for all buildings to the department as well. So pretty straightforward. Anyone have any questions?
No questions?
No.
Okay, if there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval of the flood permit, subject to the requirements as outlined in the draft for approval.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
At the second.
Thank you. So motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further, any discussion, period? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this matter is approved. Thank you. So we'll move on to item number 2. Erstad Biddle Properties, Inc., application for revised floodplain permit for Danbury Square Mall, 15 to 19 Bacchus Avenue, F17016-1 in the CG20 zone, revised site plan number SE number 334. Once again, commission members, you have received a draft resolution dated May 8th. And Ally, can you walk us through this one?
Yes. Share my screen again. So this is at the Danbury Square Plaza. Again, in the Barnes Noble tenant space there. The department granted a revised site plan approval. I'm sure you've seen it in the newspapers. Illicit Brewing Company is going to be occupying that space. And part of that, they want to install an outdoor patio in this section here. It should be, here we go. So this portion would be the outdoor patio, and then they're also extending the water main from this corner down to the corner in front of Christmas tree for a fire hydrant. So nothing's changing within the building itself, just exterior. The site plan shows the finished floor elevation of the existing building to be 1 foot above the above the base flood elevation, and no fill is proposed below the 100-year floodplain. And again, just the standard requirements there as well.
Thank you, Ally. Commission members, any questions for Ally on this matter?
None here. Thank you.
Okay, no questions. I'll entertain a motion for approval then, if you're so inclined.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to, for approval with administrative conditions that are listed in the draft approval. So I'm making the motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion at all? None? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This matter is approved as well. Thank you. So that looks like that's it for the old business for discussion and possible action. And now we'll move to referrals. And item number 1, 83A referral Petition of Attorney Charles O. Lichtenhart to amend the section 8.C.4.C11B and add section 8C4C11C to the zoning regulations. Amend off-street parking table to separate required parking calculation for inpatient and outpatient physical medical facilities. And this has a zoning commission public hearing is scheduled for May 28th, 2024. Jen, can you walk us through this one?
I sure can, Mr. Vice Chair. Thank you. For the record, Jen Freminger, Acting Planning Director. So you have a petition before you submitted on behalf of Encompass Health to amend 8C4 little c 11B and 8C4 C11C, which is in the parking table. And this is to modify existing parking requirement for physical medicine facility. The petition proposes to separate the parking calculation into physical medicine facility inpatient, and 11C is physical medicine facility outpatient. The proposed calculation for an inpatient facility retains the one parking space per employee requirement and proposes to change the requirement for clients and or patients in this case from 1 space per client to 1 space per 2 clients. The outpatient calculation is 1 space per employee on the largest shift plus one space per client at peak capacity. And this mirrors the existing parking requirement for physical medicine facility. The reason the petitioner gave for the petition is outlined in italics. And I won't go into all of the history, and you may remember this, 'cause we had done it during COVID. We amended the zoning regulations to actually change the existing definition and then to actually define physical medicine facility inpatient. And then we added that use to the PND under non-residential uses. So we defined it and we added it as a use. We did not make any changes to the parking requirement at the time. So what Encompass Health would like to do, and again, they have site plan approval. This is up at the Reserve, Phase 9B. And they were approved for the inpatient physical medicine facility. So what they would like to do is separate that requirement again into inpatient and outpatient. So what we had asked them to do is provide supportive documentation, give us examples out there that would show a comparative calculation. So they went to the ITE parking generation manual, and the comparative use was a nursing home. Again, it's similar as the patients are immobile and receiving intermittent visitors, and staffing levels are roughly the same. And what we found in that, in looking at the average peak demand, and again, they used the 3 metrics. One was per bed, per 1,000 square feet, and per employee. The average parking demand for those 3 metrics on average fall below the requirements of the proposed regulation. So in other words, the proposed change results in a requirement that is still well above the ITE average. With respect to compliance with the POCD, we always try to find ways to, where applicable, reduce the impacts from parking. And in this case, it's certainly, amending the parking requirement results in a more consistent approach with the demands for an inpatient facility. And that reduces the parking, excess parking, and it utilizes a low impact development strategy, which is certainly identified as a strategy in the POCD. In conclusion, as the existing parking requirement does not account for an inpatient facility, the proposed change would result in a more accurate requirement based on existing supporting data. And staff has no objection to this petition. Any questions?
Any questions, commission members? I have one question, Jen. Is this facility open and up and running or is not open yet?
No, not yet. They actually just pulled a grading permit, so you're gonna start to see, that, that property being graded and excavated. I think they have to go down like 3 to 4 feet. This is, if you're
Okay.
headed towards the Summit Building, when you round the cul-de-sac or the roundabout, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay,
It's that wooded parcel.
got it.
So this is 100,000 square foot facility.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, if I may
Yes,
just ask one.
yes.
Do you see, based on what you know of our medical facilities in Danbury right now, where there'd ever be a case where we would be undercutting an actual usage that is above what we're proposing here in terms of being sufficient? I don't know if I should repeat that, but.
No, I understand what you're asking. In this case, we don't have an inpatient facility. This is the first. I mean, we have nursing homes and we have rehab facilities. But this type of use, identified as inpatient, we don't have one in the city. But again, and that was the concern I had when I spoke to the attorneys, attorney Mizuko and Lichtenhauser, that we'd want to see that supporting documentation just to make sure we're not shortchanging ourselves. And I think we're still well above. It's a conservative, it's instead of, one per client, it's 1 per 2. And they're not changing the staffing. That's where you see the parking demand. It's really the staffing, in some visitors. Whereas outpatient, you're coming and going more. It's more transient parking.
Right.
And that demand does need to be higher. But in this case, we feel that it's still a conservative approach to the parking requirement.
All right, thank you very much on that.
Makes sense.
And again, we don't treat it necessarily like a medical office where you'd see high turnover because you've got, rolling appointments.
Yeah.
Again, it's really a function of staffing, and as part of that supporting documentation, they also provided the petitioner provided actual data from Encompass Health. Again, they're not going to shortchange themselves. They want to provide enough parking for their staffing levels as well. So again, I think it's a conservative approach.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for a positive or negative referral.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Go ahead, Carol. Go
All
ahead.
right, I'll make a motion for a positive referral, based on the recommendations of this, report.
Staff report.
Including compliance with the POCD, low impact policies and practices that are recommended in that document.
Great, thank you, Ellen. Do I hear a second? Second, thank you. So a motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, this matter gets a positive referral. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the second referral, or item number 2. 8-24 referral. It's a May City Council agenda item number 2. Purchase of Taylor Farm Properties Ridgeside Road, 68 Great Plain Road, 78 Great Plain Road, 57 Great Plain Road, 49 to 55 Great Plain Road, and Elizabeth Road. Parcel numbers J09173, J09102, J09103, J09123, J09142, J09143, and J09144. Commission members, you have a staff report. I believe you have a staff report dated May 8th.
Mhm.
Jen, can you walk us through this?
I sure can. So City Council received a request from Mayor Alves to consider the purchase of Taylor Farm properties. And I've noted those tax assessor lot numbers in my report, as well as Bob just named them through the agenda. The parcels total approximately 30 acres of land and are located in the RA20 district. I'm sure many of you know this, where Taylor Farm is on Great Plain. And it straddles both sides, the east and west side of Great Plain, with 22 acres on the east side and 7 acres on the west side. By way of history, the city acquired the development rights in 2008. The land continued to be owned during that time by Mr. Taylor and was limited exclusively to agriculture and open space, but the city owned the development rights. And as per that contract, which is filed on the land records and referenced, if the land was to be sold to a private interest, it's required to remain in agriculture or farming use. However, the city acquired the right to buy the properties at 50% of the remaining fair market value if the Taylors decide to sell the properties. Pursuant to that 2008 agreement, the city has 90 days to obtain appraisals and determine if the property should be purchased. It's my understanding that the city is moving forward with those appraisals as we speak. Staff has no objection to the issuance of a positive recommendation regarding the acquisition of Taylor Farm. And it certainly furthers the goals, the land use, environmental resource goals, strategies, and actions identified in the POCD. Any questions?
Any questions, commission members?
Okay.
No. I remember I used to go there all the time for the hay rides, and used to get a lot of my fruits and vegetables there throughout the year for many years. So great place. All right. So if there are no questions, I guess I'll entertain a motion for a positive or negative referral if you're so inclined.
I'd like
Mrs.
to
Alvarez.
give the purchase of the Taylor Farm a positive referral based on the fact that it supports the goals of the POCD.
Great, thank you. I hear a second. Second, thank you. So
Second.
motion has been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, this matter gets a positive recommendation. All right, moving on to the third item. 824 referral, May City Council agenda item number 8. It's a request for sewer main extension for 5 Forest Avenue, J12012. And again, commission members, there's a staff report you should have received dated May 8th. I think it was included with the Taylor Farm recommendation. So Jen, can you take us through this?
I sure can. So again, City Council received a request from Ben Dodo, PE, agent for the property owner, for the extension of the municipal sewer main to serve an existing single-family dwelling on property located at 5 Forest Avenue. This is right across from the hospital on the backside, between Virginia Ave and Hospital. The municipal sewer main currently exists in Forest Avenue and terminates in front of the adjacent property to the south, which is a medical office. The request would be an extension along Forest Lane. That's a typo there. I have to fix that. Forest Avenue. to the subject property. The POCD indicates the site is within the proposed sewer service area. Staff has no objection.
Great, thank you. Commission members, any questions on this? Pretty straightforward, seems as though. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for a positive or negative recommendation.
Mr. Vice Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this referral.
Okay,
Second?
second. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? I would say no. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? This matter also gets a positive recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, moving right along. I think we're coming up to the end here. Commission members, I think there's you'll see a few new business and a few referral items listed for the upcoming meetings. There's nothing under correspondence and other matters for discussion and possible action. So I believe that is all for tonight. Jen and Ally, did I miss anything, or do we have anything else that you want to add?
No, you covered everything.
Great, okay, then I guess I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Is there any discussion about that? Hearing none, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Great. Thank you, everybody.